American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We make up America, this amazing America. Waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans. From the snowy pass to the desert sun, with the dogs and the horses and the trucks and the guns, with mothers and daughters and fathers and sons, we're Americans. We make up America, this amazing America. Trust is American. We like the wildest things that you've ever seen. We make them bigger and faster, louder and mean. And tell me, who wouldn't wanna be an American? We make up America, this amazing America.
Welcome, Patriots and Bikers. This is John Anderson on Patriots on Wheels with George Tinkham and Mark Morrison on a kind of a nasty day in central Illinois. It's getting there anyhow. Are you there, Mark?
I am, John, and I'd like to welcome our listeners as well. It is storming right now at my house, and looks like it's going to storm most of the night, so that's just weather in this part of the country. You know, you get the storms that come through in the spring, and hopefully we won't get any tornadoes out of it.
Yeah, it looked like you guys getting the beat down up there. Are you there, George? Well, we had a little technical problem with George, but anyway, this is Patriots on Wheels with John Anderson and Mark Morrison at the time. And we have a call-in number for you, which is 315-215-1148. If you want to join in on the discussion that we're speaking about, or you want to chime in about something else, feel free to call. Once again, the call-in number is 315-215-1148. And I'll call the number off again a few times, before the show's over in case you missed it for the first or second time. But I do want to say that, I want to take a moment to, just a little speak about, a friend of ours that Mark and I and George lost that's in our club, the Vintage Iron Riders, yesterday. And are you aware of that, Mark?
Yes, I am. I don't know the details other than he passed away.
Yes, and it was an accident, but so our condolences go out to Mick LaRue's family, and it's a shame because he was such a great yeah, good person, being our club, and did quite a bit. He always bought a lap for the mile. Also, the people remember him by at the motorcycle races at the Springfield mile, and I know he got several letters back and forth there, and we're really gonna miss him. And I guess we'll have some ceremonies there this week where our club will join in.
Yeah, I have not heard any of the arrangements yet, John, and I don't know if they've even been made yet. So
I talked to his son
hopefully we'll hear it
today.
this week.
Yeah, I spoke to his son today at church, and he said that maybe they'll probably have something by tomorrow, and maybe another member that we know, Leroy, will have the scope on what's going on. But it's tough to lose a friend, and it's I sure thought about him all day yesterday and last night and today, and it all happens. And it seems like the older we get, the worse it gets, you know. So everybody else, all our friends get older along with us, right? Time goes by. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, John. I mean, as we get older, more of our friends start passing for different reasons, and I guess you realize you're mortal, and someday it's going to happen to you, and you just cherish every moment you have, and live life to the fullest.
Yes, we do. So anyway, there's a lot going on, right now. We got Laconia. Laconia's got their bike week coming up here, and it's the 92nd annual Laconia Motorcycle Bike Week, which is June 13th through the 21st. I think they're roughly expecting right around 400,000 people. And I have never been to Laconia. I'm hoping to go next year. And you know anything about Laconia at all, Mark?
I have never been, John, although my brother, probably 20 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, he used to road race up there. They had a race along with the rally, and I don't even know if they still do that anymore. So he's been up there, and I've seen it on TV, coverage of it, but I've never been there. So it must be pretty much like Sturgis, from what I've seen. I don't know, John, are you hearing anything different?
No, I think it's just about the same thing. They got live events going on and bands playing, and they've got some good scenic places along the water and the drive, and I think the railroad takes you on some scenic views also around there. I know they kind of the central hub is like at Wares, and this is New Hampshire. So, but Wares, I think I'm saying it right. Is the broad walk that overlooks Lake Winnipesaukee, maybe. I don't know if I said it wrong. Colin, yell at me. But anyway, it's this is the oldest rally. This is also the oldest rally, which is 1924, is when it's dating back to.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was the oldest. I guess I thought that Sturgis was, but that's interesting to know that it was the first rally, and I assume it was started very similar to Sturgis by a local group or club up there. Started getting together annually, and it just grew from there. I don't know. Do you know the how it all started, John?
No, I'm not really sure. But I do know the motorcycle races were pretty prominent out there. There was a lot of them going on, and but no, I'm not really sure how it started at all. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Laconia. I'm just hoping to maybe go there next year, and that's about it. But then of course we've got Sturgis, coming up in August 3rd through the 9th, and that's 75th anniversary. And now South Dakota Department of Transportation is predicting up to 1.2 million people now. So it's gone from 1 million to 1.2, and So it's getting bigger, and I can't even imagine being any bigger because of the fact that, I mean, you can barely get down the road anyhow. I mean, I stay at the Buffalo Chip all the time, and going from the Buffalo Chip to Sturgis in the town, I mean, that's not that far. And, the traffic right there, it takes you a long time to get there. And, something else. I mean, having, several 100,000 more people there, the 400,000 more, I mean, that's going to really be a lot of traffic on the roadways and everywhere. So, but anyway, there's a lot of great looking bands I'm looking forward to seeing there this year. So that's going to be rocking. Have you been to Sturgis, Mark?
Sounds like a fun time. No, John, I have not, and that's on my bucket list to get out there and do it. I've never been out there, and even more maybe than the rally for me is the riding. I understand is just beautiful out there and very scenic, and a lot of great sights to see, and that to me kind of be the highlight. So maybe someday I will get out there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just got such a variation of different stuff. The Badlands is just so much different than spearfish. Spearfish are going down the mountain or back up the mountain it just seems like forever. And it's got some awesome scenic view, waterfalls coming off there. Got some places to stop here and there, and it's a good time. But just for our listeners that haven't been out there, a word of warning going down Spearfish Mountain or coming back up, I recommend going single file because a lot of people I've met either coming up or going down, might be in that double rotation side to side, or staggered anyhow. They might be staggered and their handlebars are coming over the middle of the road. And they've had a lot of accidents up there with handlebar to handlebar passing. So I recommend single line going up or down. So that's from my experience anyhow. So you can still stagger, as long as the inside lane guys, little way off, to the inside a little bit. But yeah, it's a great time. We gone out to Wyoming, place out there to go over, and there's just so many places to see out there. It's just, it's awesome. It really is. So we've got our reservation for the Buffalo Chip already this year. And my wife won't be going.
So do you go for the whole week?
Yeah. Actually, we're going up the 1st, which is we're going to get there Saturday morning. Actually, really before the week starts, but they still got stuff going on that Saturday before it all starts. So we're going to get there Saturday morning and stay that whole entire week and leave that next Sunday morning. So 9 days. So a friend of mine's going out with me, and so it's just not her cup of tea, But you know what? She's she can trust that I won't make any stupid decisions or do anything dumb. So I'm pretty good. When I was younger, maybe, but now I'm older and married. I'm a good boy, pretty much. But,
not wild anymore.
No, I try not to, but I'm not out of control. But yeah.
Well, John, how long does it take you to get out there?
Oh, had to ask me that. You know what? It takes me in the morning. I leave in the early in the morning, and I usually don't end up getting there till, if I was gonna go through all the way through, I'd get there probably early evening. So it's probably, it'd probably take me about a good 12 hours, 14 hours to get there, I guess. That's stopping. Man, I can't ride like I used to. I used to be able to get on there and ride, and I did come back from D.C. last year and rode straight through, and half of it was in the rain, and it was about 55 degrees out. And I did do that, and that's only because our club had something going on and I needed to get back to. But I ain't going to do that again. And those days are over. But we do have people in the club. Lee rides out there, and he says he does it, doesn't get off the bike, stop for gas, and bam, he's back on there again. A lot of people make reservations for maybe after you go through Sioux City, and you're heading west, make reservations in the motels there. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't make reservations early, you're not going to find a place. And that happened to me a couple of years ago. I thought maybe I'd find a spot. I was tired, sunburnt, windburnt, and I needed a good rest. I was tired from the night before and what have you. And I couldn't find a motel. I checked 15 motels looking. I finally was going to crash on the side of the road, and man, I was just so tired. The bed sounded good. But I did find one. Somebody canceled right when I pulled up in the parking lot. So, but it was coming to the point I was going to lay on the road. I was so tired. But,
Yeah.
So I recommend that too. So people that do need to feel they need to stay in the motel, you need to do it way ahead of time. I mean, like 6 months ahead of time, reservations at least. Maybe at the end of the rally and make reservations for that next year if you're going to go. So otherwise, it's going to be tough to find a place. We're not going to do that this year. We're just driving straight up there. I've got two people, two of us, and so we'll just drive up there and we'll probably sleep in the truck a little bit, and that'd be about it. So, but otherwise, I want to get. When we made reservations, it was a little bit late, and we got set off. There were so many people already there. Where I got put up in the parking lot. That was a newer camping area, but no water, no power. But my buddies from Arizona are bringing water tank and bringing the generator, so that's not so bad. But I wish I would have got a place with water and power where we could have hooked up to. So it did fill up pretty quick. I mean, there's no doubt there's gonna be a lot more people there, this year. So, and
Right.
I've got a product I'm gonna be selling there this year, so part of it's gonna be business for me too. So. And once I get the website up, then I'm going to bring the product out on the radio and tell everybody about it. So it'll be something, a safety item that everyone will be able to use. So I just don't have the website up yet. So they're working on that. So once it gets up, I'll give you the .com. But other than that, do we have George with us yet? Are you on there, George? No, George. Might be having some problems. Let me try giving him a call again. And
Okay.
Let's see. Anyway, you do anything special today, Mark?
Well, I drove back from Wisconsin, John. I was up there at the ARMA road race up at Road America this weekend.
Oh, I seen those pictures on Facebook. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a great time. My brother is doing vintage road racing now, and so I went up to help him. And it was great. It rained today, so we left a little earlier than what we probably would have normally. But Friday and Saturday was a good day. A lot of good racing, and they also have a big custom bike show there too, called the Rocker Box, and had a lot of neat bikes there. They have rockabilly bands they bring in, beer tasting. Vendors there selling all kinds of bike wares, from clothes to parts to you name it. They had a swap meet. It was just a really good time. So I recommend it to anybody that's looking for something to do for the weekend that involves motorcycles. It's not too expensive, and it's beautiful up there in Wisconsin. And we camp right there at the track. They have showers and everything, so it really works out well. Have you ever been up the Road America, John?
No, but I will one of these days. I would love to go. I mean, I know one of the other ones I've gone out to was out in Ohio, which you've gone out to before. But the Road America I've never been up there, and I'm hoping that's going to be one of my stops for next year too. Looked pretty exciting in the pictures I've seen on Facebook that you posted. So.
Yeah, great time.
Yeah, probably seen some celebrities
John,
up there.
Yeah. And I was telling some of the guys I was with, this is, to me, is almost like the second golden age of motorcycles. I mean, everybody, manufacturer-wise, is building all kinds of neat new stuff, really innovative stuff, and people. There's a lot of people that are into it. A lot of activities around motorcycling. I remember back in the late 60s, early 70s, kind of a similar environment before everything kind of went to hell in a handbasket in the mid 70s. But I think it's a great time to be a motorcycle rider.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Hey, guys, can you hear me now?
Well, what do you know? We have George Tankum with us. Hi, George. There's our other co-host.
Good late afternoon, folks.
So,
yes, I plugged in early, and I thought I'd get this equipment working correctly, but it still takes its own sweet time. So it's good hearing you guys.
Yeah. Well, if it's something about being live, and we're on Live 365 and being live, you don't know what's going to happen. And like Mark and I were talking about earlier, Mark's got a bad storm coming through him, and if that hits me, I'll knock us out, but all three of us out of the radio show, because I'm running the board. But so it won't be good at all. So hopefully, with our radio broadcast, the bad weather will, stay away from us each time we have a show. But anyway, we're happy to have you on here.
Great. You have a emergency power generator and all that, so that you're capable of handling all kinds of conditions there, John?
No, I don't. But my neighbor across the street down the road does. And it's like rubbing mud in my face every time I see his lights on over there. So one of these times I will have a backup generator, and then I'll be rubbing mud in everybody else's face in the country out here. Because we do lose power a lot out here. I mean, it gets knocked out probably at least once a week, and it doesn't take a whole lot for the storm to knock it out. And it seems like transformers are went blowing down the street. We've had accidents out here in the country where it's knocked the poles down. I mean, it's just it's been crazy. We have Menard, so never know what's going to happen. And you can tell we have Menard, and some people may have something else because I can see their lights on way down the road, but nobody else has got power, of course, except the guy with the generator. So, yep. So one of these days, I'm just going to take a bottle of booze. I'm just going to take a bottle of booze over there one of these days when we get our power off, and I'm just going to go enjoy his generator with his cold air or his heat. So, yep. Anyway.
Well, hey, Fireball, I tell you what, next time you're in Springfield, if you want, you can grab one of my generators.
Well, okay. All right, I've got a small one. It's just it won't power up a whole lot, but one of these days I will have one and have it set up like yours where it'll kick on. I hope to have one on there to kick on automatically, what I'd like to have. So, but at least have one, that's plugged into my main panel like yours is. You never even used Jersey, have you?
I have never even tested mine. I have all the stuff that's supposed to work, and the thing of it is that generator, I figured that when it came from the factory, the engine was fairly well pickled on it, and the first time I started means that I would have basically used up all the storage safety chemicals they put inside that engine, and that means I'd have to really do something to it, like on a frequent basis. Take the spark plugs out and squirt Marvel Mystery Oil down the holes or whatever, just to make sure the thing's okay. But here in the city where I live, we go maybe 5-10 years before we have any problems. And I know that when I lived out in the country, we used the generator a lot more than we do here in town.
Well, it's good to have. You don't know when.
But if it ever hits, I'm ready.
Yeah. We could have a takeover. It could knock our grid out, too. So it's nice to have that generator. So, yeah. So I'll just, so if that ever happens, well, I'll bring a bottle of booze to your house then, if I have to. So,
we'll make you comfortable. Yeah, it's you can only be so ready. I mean, I've got gasoline containers that I rotate on a regular basis so the gasoline doesn't get sour on me, and I can back up for a few days here, but unless you're sitting on a coal mine and have a steam-powered generator, it's hard to have any real long-term emergency backup. all you can hope for is that the society system that we have, the main power company and the main power grid will get their act together in a expedient manner, so that all you have to do is run a tank or two of gas, and your food doesn't spoil, and your quality of life doesn't diminish too much.
Yep. Hey, George and Mark, I got to step away for a minute. So why don't you guys carry on? I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey, Mark.
Will do, John. Yes, sir.
Yep. Thanks. Well, yeah, you were talking about the golden age of motorcycling and what we're looking at. Are you talking primarily technology?
Yeah, I guess it's on a couple of different levels. I mean, there seems to be more people enjoying the sport, and technology-wise, everybody, all the manufacturers are coming out with new bikes with, a lot of new features and new capabilities. And they're it's not just one size fits all. I mean, the manufacturers are bringing out niche bikes for those groups that like specific things, and it's just, I think, a great time to be involved in motorcycling. And I don't know, George, to me, we had a period like this back in the 60s and maybe early 70s, but maybe you've been around a little longer than I have. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the things I really notice is that the plethora of motorcycling events. Back, I came to Springfield in '74, got out of law school, started my job in '74, and there was maybe 2 or 3 motorcycle events a year, it seemed like then. A year. Now we have almost that many a weekend. So there's no reason for a person to say, hey, I'm not riding my motorcycle because I don't have any place to go. I don't have anybody to do it with. There are so many organizations. It's just amazing. We have the regular classic clubs. We have associations that really have just particular agendas, a particular focus. That will encompass numerous other individuals. We have mark clubs where you look at a particular brand of motorcycle. It's kind of refreshing and almost exhausting at the same time to have so many choices that we never had before. I'm still amazed when I look at how much stuff is going on.
That's a very good point, George, because it seems like my calendar is filled up for the summer with, not only our club events, but just other events that I want to be involved with. And, you have to start planning back in the January and February for the year, because there's just so many things going on if you want to take advantage of them. Otherwise, you'll miss something.
Right, and you throw in things like family responsibilities. Well, let's say family opportunities, and things like that. People may be involved in special other clubs besides motorcycling or politics, or there's so many other things to do. Fitting it all in has become quite a challenge. So I guess one of the big talents we have to learn is how to have triage and deciding which has the highest priority, and then just have the guts to say no when it comes time to be able to have some peace of mind. But it's nice to be in that position rather than being in a position where you got nothing going on.
That's so true. So true. You know, you can pick and choose anything that fits your fancy. I mean, from racing to shows to rallies to even poker runs. I mean, there's just a gazillion things out there to do. And as you say, if you're bored and not finding them, it's shame on you because they're all out there and they're everywhere. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
You know, one example of.
Oh, go
Hey,
ahead, George.
we're just talking about all the stuff. Hey, and my equipment's still working here, Fireball. So that's
I was sweating.
That's a good sign so far.
Yeah, that's good. Oh yeah.
Hey,
you know,
we
like you
were
said,
talking about all the stuff.
Well, you're right. All the events
Okay,
going
we're
on.
kind of talking over each other.
Sorry. You're right about all the events going on. And not only with all the events that are scheduled, you have unscheduled events that's going on too. And that takes you down to the bikers going down to Waco, back there trying to back the bikers at the courthouse and about the rerun of the PD, Waco PD and the judges too. And we won't hit on that very much at all. But because I'm not sure if anyone knows anything about what happened over the weekend this Sunday. I know it was a peaceful protest by the biker, and there's probably about 1,000 of them in there. And if you want, call in. Our phone number is 315-215-1148. Feel free to call in and talk about it. But yeah, as you're saying, you got the scheduled ones, and all of a sudden you got an unscheduled one.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the things that, like the 4th of July, I was telling our club that we're invited to a ice cream social that a physician puts on here in town, and I find that I may have a commitment that conflicts with that, so that I may not be able to attend the thing, but I've made arrangements with a local judge for him to ride one of my old motorcycles there, so that at least if I can't attend, one of my bikes can.
Well, awesome. Does that give you a free pass?
Might as well.
Does that give you a free pass down the road in case you got it? I mean, it's like a ticket. You can use someday down the road in case you have to. Yeah. But which bike is he's riding?
He'll be riding the 1964 BMW R69S.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I'm going to have that baby running this week. Mark my words.
Good. We've been hearing that, haven't we, Mark?
I know it's going to be running.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be working because I'm going to have somebody else help me on it. And unfortunately, I won't be able to do much for the next week or so. I've got eye surgery coming up, and the doctors don't want me to lift more than 25 pounds and, bend over, pick up things and, stuff like that. So poor me, I'm just going to have to rely on other people to do my work for me. I asked for an extra note to give my wife so I wouldn't have to do so much work around the house.
Oh, okay. That relieves all your duties then, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep. So that's why I think that I'm pretty sure that bike's going to be running. It was running supposedly when it was returned to me, but the bike just does not like me to start it. It'll start for everybody else, but not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. So get her going, and that's our love for the motorcycles is working on them too. So I like to work on mine, just like the rest of you guys do. I'd rather have it running, and then then work on it at my own options to happen to get it running. But sometimes some of the older vintage bikes, that's what happens. So anyway, we're going to take a short break, guys. We're going to take a short little break, and if you guys can, go ahead and text on the Skype or whatever, and go ahead and mute your mics, because I guess they're been hearing us and talking over the song that's been playing. So, anyway, we'll be back in about 3.5 minutes. This is John Fireball Anderson with George Tinkham and Mark Morrison on Patriots on Wheels. And our call-in number is 315-215-1148. Call in, voice your opinions, join the chat, whatever. We'll be back in about 3.5 minutes. Thank you.
If you get lonely on your daddy's farm, just remember I don't live too far. And there's a red bridge in Oxford. You'll be in my place in less than a day. So get on your bed, motor scooter and ride. Up over to my place and stay all night. Yeah. The first thing in the morning we'll be feeling alright, 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 alright. Get on your bed, motor scooter and ride. Ooh, the last time I seen your face, swore that no one would take your place. Now since you've been gone, I've been feeling bad, yeah. I come out to your place, I'm afraid of your dad. So you get on your bed, motor scooter and ride. Go up over to my place and stay all night. Yeah. The first thing in the morning we'll be feeling alright, 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 alright. Get on your bed, motor scooter and ride. Yeah. Ride, ride, ride. Come on, baby. Yeah. Crank it on up. Oh. Get on your bed, motor scooter and ride. Up over to my place and stay all night. The first thing in the morning we'll be feeling alright, 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 alright. Get on your bed, motor scooter. Get on your bed, motor scooter. Get on your bed, motor scooter. And
Welcome back, bikers and patriots on Patriots on Wheels. This is John Fireball Anderson with George Tinkham and Mark Morrison, and we're on Live 365, and you can find us on Facebook on Patriots on Wheels, and we're also on Facebook on Roar Restoration of America Radio, and our call-in number is 315-215-1148. So call in, voice your opinions. We're live and at our own little studios in our home little place, Central Illinois. And give us a call in, voice your opinions on anything you want to talk about. Since we've been, we just recently got the show live and going, and we have not gotten any call-ins yet, so we'd love to hear from our listeners, and we appreciate everybody listening in. You guys there? Mark, George?
Yep, I'm here. Hey,
I'm here.
by the way, Fireball.
Yes.
Yes, Fireball. One of the things I wanted to say about Live 365, I have been using that for like maybe a year or two just to listen to music. It is really a really outstanding source of entertainment, and I have found songs on there, artists on there that I like so much that I went out and bought their music. So it was good for them. It was good for me. And I was just tickled when I found out that we were going to be putting this show on Live 365 because I think it's an outstanding website.
Well,
how's that for buttering them up?
Yeah, well, Mona, one of the people that's in our group, and she's worked hard. Her and Marcia and Roland, they've all worked hard to get us on this radio. They've been working months and months, even in the part of last year, trying to get us a good radio group to be on. And Live 365 seemed to be the one, because it seemed to be, very well known by people, because I speak to people and they say, oh, yeah, Live 365, Well, now we're easy to find because we're on Facebook. And I don't know if you guys seen the link, but Mona went on and put the links on there where we put on the pages, and all you got to do is click the link, and it takes you right to our show at 6 o'clock. So we come on at 6 o'clock, and and then we're going to start running. Also, we're going to start running archive of this show here. So, and Mark probably doesn't know this yet. I don't know if he knows yet, but we're also going to be running this recorded show here on Friday nights too. So we will post that, and we're going to have the times on there. So this will run a recorded view of 1 or 2 times on a Friday night also. So that's pretty exciting for us. And, thank all them girls and guys helping us out, getting us where we're at. Because we went from a broadcast to a regular radio show. And that's awesome. But anyway, during the break, you guys kind of spoke about something you wanted to speak about. And, if you want to hit on that, go for it.
Well, okay, this really doesn't have much to do with politics, but one of the things that it does, because different insurance companies have different political agendas, and I think it's kind of up to us to vote with our pocketbooks. If we think that somebody's taking a negative stance on motorcycling, there's no sense in doing business with them. One of the problems I have is that when I hear, for example, I hear that Progressive is has a very negative political agenda, very very left wing, and I don't know anything about it. Anybody can write anything on the internet, and if you just do a knee jerk reaction every time you see something like that, you're just shooting in the dark. You don't know if you're acting appropriately or not. So I was wondering if anybody had any ideas on the ideal kind of motorcycle insurance company to use for bikers to use. Any thoughts? For example, I hear that State Farm
George,
is just really a dynamite company, Mark.
Well, I'm with State Farm personally, and part of the trick for me with State Farm was finding out about some of the products that they offer that aren't necessarily well known, and even some of their agents aren't aware of them. But I was able to find out through some people I know within the company about some policies, and I have vintage bikes, and they have some policies for vintage bikes that are extremely affordable. I was paying for them under regular motorcycle policies, and that gets pretty pricey. And as a vintage bike, you're not riding them near as often, and people with vintage bikes tend to treat them much better than some people I've seen riding some modern bikes on the street. So you get decent rates for that. But there are, there's Geico, there's Progressive, there's Allstate. Everybody's offering policies, and I talk to people on the street about insurance quite often, and it seems to be that it's like the old motorcycle shop. If you've got a good mechanic in your shop, your shop will be well received and well thought of. And I think the same's true with everything. It's only as good as the people you're dealing with, and if you're dealing with people within any organization that don't necessarily reflect the values of the organization, you're not going to get your money's worth. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents, guys.
Well, there are a lot. I was with Progressive one time, and I mean, there's a lot of them out there that, if your credit's not so good or anything, they'll work with you on, a monthly payment or whatever. And I've done that on a few of my bikes because of the fact that I don't want to run it into the wintertime anyhow, because I really don't want to, I should say the coverage, if I'm not riding it, run it all year long instead of paying it, the first part of the year and going a whole year. So I've been with a few different ones, and you know what? I've had a little problem here or there with about anybody, So I guess it depends on what you have going on.
And one of the things that I've done, because of my farming background, I've been with country companies for years. And I think a lot of what I do is just kind of force a habit. They don't offer an antique motorcycle or antique car program, which I wish they did and which they should offer, but they have a pretty good product, and if there's a problem, that they don't give me a hard time. So that's one of the reasons I'm kind of sticking with them. Just like I said, probably it's more force of habit than anything else. But their prices are reasonable, and I've never had a downside working with them.
Well, and that's kind of what I was alluding to, George, that if you've got a relationship, and this is true of everything, with a company or an individual that will go the extra mile for you when you need it, sometimes that is you can't put a price on that, value. So
my biggest thing that I've had problems with is the vintage bike. Like, for instance, my chopper, it's not a stock bike. So then, and it's not nowhere a show bike either, you know what I mean? So they want to categorize you into a show bike type of insurance, which costs more than what it was if it was just a stock bike, and I tried to get around it before, and they'll get you one way or another knowing it's not a stock bike. But that's probably one of the biggest things I've had problem with, is just it annoys me, that even though it's not a show bike, chopper, it should be, to me it should still be treated the same. But I guess they look at it as you've made a lot of changes, brakes are different, clutch maybe, whatever, so they're going to insure it for more because of the fact that, charge you more because of the fact that it's not what stock came out of the manufacturer. So it could be maybe more dangerous. I have no idea what their deal is.
Yeah, well, I find it kind of frustrating when I deal with an insurance company. I have this wonderful old motorcycle that I want to insure, and they say, okay, what's the engine displacement? And I say, what does that have to do with anything? It's an old bike. I'm going to ride it, to and from events. It's not like it's a daily commuter, or I'm going to be out there, tearing up the back roads with it. What's the point? And they said, well, we don't make a special consideration for antique vehicles. So these are questions we ask everybody. So I'm guessing insurance companies like that, maybe you're better off dealing with somebody that really knows the product rather than just lump all of us into one big category. And by the way, having said that, I think maybe a couple of years ago, there was a riot in the East St. Louis area on the Illinois side of the river. Guy on a 48 Indian Chief, and I have a 48 Indian Chief. Kind of was careless when he was crossing lanes and got tangled up with a guy on a sport bike and really tore up the motorcyclist and the motorcycle. I shudder to think what the medicals will be on that in that matter. I haven't heard anything about it for since it was just related to me. Like I said, maybe 2 years ago. And the guy on the old Indian Chiefs did not have any insurance whatsoever. Interesting enough, the person works, I believe, for I think the FBI. And he says, "Well, I didn't know you had to have insurance on an antique motorcycle."
Oh boy!
What an amazing attitude! Yeah, and in all fairness, you can get into as much trouble with an antique as you can with a brand new bike. It just depends on how you're writing it. Now, in that particular instance, he was writing it correctly. It was in an antique related motorcycling event, and he did get in trouble with it. But I think that insurance companies work on the percentages, and in general, with antique vehicles, you have a much lower possibility of things like that happening than you do with more recently manufactured vehicles. That's my guess. Mark, I know you're not an actuary, but I'm guessing that most underwriters would probably look that way if they yeah.
Well, yeah, George, it's all based on the law of large numbers, and you know that a certain amount of these types of accidents or those types of accidents or injuries are going to happen, and that's what you base your rates on. Sometimes you win, sometimes you do lose, because if whatever you predicted doesn't turn out close enough to your prediction, then you probably haven't asked for enough money in rates to make a profit, or you may have too much money in rates, in which case I would hope the insurance company would, return that to their policyholders in the form of some kind of dividend or something. So,
yeah. Well, in states where the insurance industry is, some states regulate the insurance industry a lot more than Illinois does, and in those states, the insurance company is essentially treated like a utility, and they have to make adjustments if they're making too much money.
Yes, and I think they should.
I wish we all wish we had that problem of making too much money, but yeah. Go ahead, Bart.
I thought only lawyers had that problem.
Yeah, you got to choose your clients probably a little bit better than I do mine. I tell people I'm an okay lawyer, but I'm a terrible businessman.
Yep.
But,
well, I look at it this way: more money, more toys.
Yeah.
But yeah, the insurance,
although
it is important to have, just in case somebody does hit you that doesn't have insurance, and then you're going to rely on your own insurance to pay for it.
Well, I think one of the problems that we had back in the 80s with insurance companies, as far as motorcycle rights are concerned, is that they were really hard-nosed about. We had some insurance companies that basically wouldn't insure you if you rode a motorcycle. If you were an employee of a company, they would say, okay, company, we'll give you this special insurance program here, but if any of your employees ride a motorcycle, they're not going to be covered. And it didn't matter whether you were injured riding the motorcycle or not. If you were a motorcyclist, you weren't going to be covered. And it didn't matter whether it was your fault or not. If you were a motorcyclist, you weren't covered. I think that there's been enough awareness within the motorcycling community now that a lot of those rather draconian policies have changed for the better. Well, that was kind of scary. And also what we saw was a lot of insurance companies were pushing for more and more motorcycle regulation. I think the concern was not so much that the motorcyclists were directly causing insurance money to be spent, but indirectly when the insurance company was insuring a car or a truck, and that car or truck hit a motorcyclist, then they'd have to have a large payout. And they figured, hey, the more regulation we do on motorcycles, number one, it's possible these regulations will cut down the number of and the severity of injuries, but just as important, it's going to cut down the number of people that ride a motorcycle, and that means we're going to have fewer collisions because there's going to be fewer bikers out there. And that's a sad situation. Any insurance company that takes that kind of approach probably should be put on the do not buy list, but by anybody that likes motorcycling.
Yes.
Well,
I
hey,
would agree
John,
with
you
that,
were
George.
talking about.
Oh, go ahead.
John, you were talking about Joni's roast and ride in Iowa.
Yeah,
that
it
about?
was it was roast and ride. It was the first annual one, and I guess it was some presidential contenders that they were having kind of like a rally fundraiser, I guess, up there. She rode Joni Ernst, I should say. She rode a Harley, I believe, and they did like a 38-mile ride one of those days, or it may have been done that day. It was about an hour ride. I believe. I guess the 2016 confirmed guests were like Ben Carson, Carly Farina, Lindsey Graham, Mike Huckabee, Rick Perry, Marco Rubio, Scott Walker, and Ernst, of course, which is hers. Rick Perry, I think he rode, and I'm not sure about the other ones, but they could get in there and flip some pork chops too, during that day. It was kind of like a veterans and patriots ride, and of course, we know a little bit about Joni Ernst. She was she came out as a farm girl, and I guess she was described herself as like operated heavy moving equipment when she was young as a college student, and commanded a battalion in Kuwait in Iraq in 2003 and 2004. But I know there's been some jabs on the Hillary side about her being farm girl and everything, but sounds like the roast and ride, which was the first annual one, was a pretty good time, and so that's another event that's popped up this year that never happened before. I'm not sure about some of the stuff that they had going on there. They had the roast and ride when anyone demonstrate the proudness of the cornhole. But they had some events going on there about the cornhole I wasn't exactly sure about, and I'm not sure what they're. I'm going to try to see if I can find that a little bit here, and I'll speak that. But have you guys heard about this?
No,
I have not.
I have not.
And you said the corn what?
Well, it was Ernst. It says Ernst will encourage the presidential contenders to participate in backyard games such as horseshoes, wiffle ball, and cornhole. I have no idea what cornhole is.
Whoa.
Do you know a game named cornhole? I mean,
I'll explain.
Well, it sounds like a dirty game, but I have no idea what the cornhole game is. So if you can explain what the game they're talking about, I have no idea. I mean, go ahead, George. I can only begin
like
to
I said,
guess.
in
I know.
prison.
Yeah, my guess is all wrong. So, if anyone would like to call in and talk about what that game is, the cornhole, and keep it to a level of maybe what really happened, our call-in number is 315-215-1148. So, but I have no idea. But it sounds like they all had a great day. They had campaign tents there, Iowa straw poll. GOP, it was a trio, GOP tradition that echoed through there, and sounds like it was a pretty good weekend, really. So, but that's another event that sounds like it's going to go on every year since they're naming this as the first annual one. So, but that's about all I know about it. Like I said, I'd like to know what the deal is about the game when they put it in the same sentence as horseshoes. What the game cornhole is. So I'd like to know if anybody'd call in and tell us about that. Some farmer. You're George, you're a farmer, So but our heads is in the gutter, so so we can only imagine. But anyway, that's all. I just wanted to touch a little bit on that and throw that in there. So
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that the demographics in motorcycling is that you see a lot of relatively conservative voters tend to be interested in motorcycles. It's not 100%, but I would say, what do you think, Mark? 70, 80%?
I'd say, yeah, large percentage. Yeah, I would guess that. They tend to be more conservative, I think. Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, it's
yeah, I agree. Marco Rubio was there, and Ernst said, "Well, you can hop on mine and ride with me." And he said, "Well, I think I'll need a sidecar." So Marco Rubio evidently doesn't ride a motorcycle. So.
Well, as long as he doesn't ride side saddle.
Yeah, there you go.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
Yep. Yeah, I got a few terms
we've
I
really
can throw
digressed.
out there. I'm not going to, but yeah. But this is as far as
that's right. We got to be.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to try to be more politically correct so that we don't lose our sponsors.
Yeah, well, Ernst, who campaigned as a farm girl, she did brag about she grew up castrating hogs, and carries more in her purse than just lipstick. So she did say that, and that's kind of something that people can remember her by, because I think that's one of the jabs the left went on about her castrating hogs. But and anybody that's castrated hogs knows, that's a whining, that's a job now. I remember, as a matter of fact, the first time I castrated hogs and got the shots. Matter of fact, I almost got the needle. But if I wouldn't have had some hard rubber boots on, those things would have bit right through my leg. I tell you what, man, squealing. I prefer not to do it anymore. Back in the younger days, making money with the farmers. But that's the tough deal, castrating cobs. For anybody that hadn't never done it before or done it that much. So
we won't make you do it again, John.
You can't. Yeah, although I think the worst thing in working animals is dehorning cattle. That's just horrible. I mean, I've I've been involved in, shots, castration, well, we've never had to do branding here in Illinois, but deer horning cattle is just excruciating for those poor animals. And
oh man,
they're coming up with better alternatives. They don't have them. It's not complete, but at least they're addressing the problem.
I never even seen that done before. Dehorning cattle. How do you? Is there something that goes around in the diameter, that cuts through there, or what? How do you dehorn a cattle?
It's a big two-handled device that with scooped ends, and you put it over the butt of the horn, and you're supposed to do it before the butt of the horn embeds into the bone, embeds into the scalp, and you're supposed to go in there and cut it out. You pull those handles all the way apart so the scoops go in, cut through the flesh, cut through the bone root, and then you twist it with those handles out, so in a circle, so that you get you completely sever all the connecting tissue, blood vessels, nerves, all that kind of stuff, that would feed the horn bud, and you can imagine just how incredibly painful that is for that animal. It's
I don't think I could do that. I imagine that is very painful. That'd be tough. God.
But if you leave the horns on the cattle and you ship them, and they, most cattle will keep their heads up high so they don't gouge their neighbors, but you get a lot of damage from shipping cattle with horns on them. So that's an important consideration too. It's hard to do it so that there's no downside. I guess the ideal situation is to try to just concentrate on breeding polled animals, and what that means, a polled animal is an animal that's born without the ability to grow horns, and that's the best situation, because frankly, unless you have these animals on the open range, the horns really aren't very beneficial.
Yeah, that's kind of out of my.
Who would thought our conversation would go down this route? Huh?
Yeah, we'll probably have PETA calling us in. But yeah, that's quite. I've seen the tool before. I just didn't realize what the tool was, I guess. And so my in-laws got some pretty good farm tools and have a museum and in there, which you guys have to go up sometime. Be a good ride up there sometime, up around an hour north of here, and be a good museum for you guys to go through. We've got a lot of old tools and stuff in through there that I think probably both of you or our club would enjoy, to see. And he can tell you about the bull story he had too. He's got a good bull, taking the bull by the horn story. So I'll make sure if we ever ride up there that he tells you about that one. So, but yeah.
Yeah, well, hour north of here, that's pretty close to where Mark lives then, right?
Well, it's they're only well, they'd be about east of Mark, so right in the Minear area. So they go to Bloomington quite a bit, so it's not that far. So yeah, it'd be a good ride for our club to take up there, and Mark just meet us over there. So, or we could take it up to McLean and ride over. So yeah, there'd be no sense for you riding all the way down here, Mark, and then riding back. Well, unless you did and rode back with us and just went home. So either way, be a good ride.
Right.
I know we got a covered bridge or something that George wants to take us to on a ride sometime too. But I'm not gonna do anything with the cattle horns though, George. So don't take us to the farm, because I'm not cutting any horns off any cattle, and I'm not gonna castrate any more pigs either. So, but
well,
yeah, it's weird
the
because
pigs don't like it.
I get older and I start being more sympathetic about things, you know what I mean? And even when I deer hunt, you know, I make darn sure I make a good shot because I don't want to see the animals suffer. And I think about it more as I've gotten older. Of course, my wife's gotten embedded in my head a little bit too, you know, so that hadn't helped.
Yeah, well, you know, some animals become part of the family, and you know, you got to treat them as such.
Yeah, you know what? And I've
But I
asked
don't
my
know
buddy that has cattle up in Hopedale. I said, "How can you raise the cows and then slaughter them?" You know, I don't know how you can do it. Well, he's got names for them. You know, like for instance, I got a quarter off a T-bone one time. You know, and T-bone was damn good steak. You know, because T-bone was a big cow. You know, and I got part of the cow, and and my wife didn't think that was very comical when I said that we're eating T-bone, you know. And luckily she never got the meat T-bone before we did eat him. So she probably would have never had any of it. But he does name the cows, you know, so he knows which cows, and his whole family is involved with the cows, and I guess they gotta name them so they know which ones they gotta do whatever too. So, but that'd be tough. I couldn't do that, you know. I just I can't raise and slaughter, you know. I'm less sentimental. I'm less sentimental for people.
That is tough.
Yeah, it is. I mean.
Yep.
Yep.
You develop the mindset that every person has a purpose in life, and that you just realize that's that particular animal's purpose, and all you can do is give them the best life they can, and give them the best death they can, and and move on.
Well, when it's your livelihood, you got to do it. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank God, because that's good eating.
Yes. Yeah, if we didn't have people willing to do that, my cholesterol would be much lower, and we can't have that.
No.
So, hey, we kind of drifted away from politics and motorcycling here a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah, we did. You know, I mean, that kind of gets into a scope. And anybody wants to call in about that, they can call in. One of these days I'll have that number memorized, I think, probably. I don't know. I'm getting older, though, so I probably won't be. But our phone number, call-in number is 315-215-1148, 315-215-1148. This is Patriots on Wheels with John Fireball Anderson, George Tink Tinkham, and Mark Morrison. And I guess we're running over a little bit, and that's fine, because we can ultimately take this to a 2-hour show down the road, and we'll actually have the recordings on Friday nights, too, on Live 365. So as long as you guys are okay with talking a little longer, you know, that's good for us, or whatever you want to do. Good for the listeners.
Well,
They can hear my dog bark in the background. That's something about being live. We're all live at our own homes. So, and my wife's out of the house, so she can't take the dog right now. So I'm babysitting and on the radio both.
Yeah, Mark, we should have our own sound effects in the background, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I don't think my wife will bark in the background, so I don't know about yours, George, but
well, she used to, but I have her pretty well trained now, so she doesn't anymore.
Yeah. Remind me not to tell her that when you say. George didn't mention that. Yeah, no. Well, you know what? Mine might bark a little bit when I get a little bit out of hand sometimes, and straighten me up. So.
Hey, you know, one of the things that you mentioned some time ago in this show, Mark, about the different ages of motorcycling. One of the projects I've been talking about for years that I think I may come a little closer to being able to pull it off is that I'm talking to a recent college graduate who majored in history, and we're talking about having him do a in-depth history presentation on A Beta of Illinois. You know, how it was started, what the issues were, you know, how individuals did different things to make it work, that sort of thing. I think it would be, we're going to hopefully have it both written and as videotape, and I asked him to consider doing video interviews, and then of course keep those interviews even if they're not 100% put in the finished product, so that we could have that kind of historical archives for the organization. I think it'd be great if other organizations did things like that.
Well, not only that, George, it may help other groups to see how it was done, and they may be able to follow a very similar pattern, you know, to create organizations of their own, no matter what field they're in. You know, we learn by example, and that might be a way for them to do it as well. So.
Yeah, and we've been talking about doing this for a long time, but I really didn't think it would be effective to have a founder of the organization do it, because each person has their own perspective, and you couldn't help but flavor the end product with your own perspective. And I think what you need is that independent party out there getting all the information from all these different angles and weaving it together into a comprehensive story that makes sense, and like you said, Mark, will be educational and will illuminate other people's efforts to do the same thing.
Right.
I keep thinking.
I think that's a good idea.
A lot of the different organizations would be great. Yeah. Then we'll have him do the vintage iron riders. And I also
I'd be interested in that,
was
because
instrumental.
I don't know the history.
Yeah, it's I thought it was kind of interesting seeing that club put together, and we're constantly surprised how big the club is and what kind of participation we get. So apparently we're doing something correctly.
Yeah,
I think
we
it's
certainly are, because we get 30 to 50 members at a meeting. I think that's kind of unheard of for a club our size. So.
Yeah, I agree. Whether it's the PTA or a church group or whatever, you don't get that kind of turnout.
Yeah, well, I think some of it is we like to have fun, and the people that come to our meetings like to have fun too, and we get some business done, but we also enjoy ourselves, and I think that's important. And we don't ask too much for our members, so I think that helps as well. You know,
that helps. I mean, sure, we have fun. We show up, we get drunk, we castrate a hog or two, whatever.
Yeah, one of our events will go out and taking the horn off a cow. Yeah, but yeah. But
you must be going to a different meeting than I am.
Yeah, we do get good participation there, and usually it's up pretty high too all the time, and I'm happy with that. And we talk motorcycles, and we talk about working mechanics and motorcycles and everything else, so it's all good. Somebody must have been listening, and they sent me something about how to play cornhole. So if you guys want to learn or know about how to play cornhole, I can mention this real quick. And what it is find a nice flat surface on your lawn in the parking lot, the beach, etc. Set up the boards directly across facing each other from 27 feet between the front edge, and the cornhole can be placed with 2 to 4 people. It's almost like a game across from one another, I guess, from throwing bags. So that's basically what it is. So why our heads were in the
So what do
gutter?
you
It wasn't exactly what we thought it was. So
so
it's
what
kind
are
of like
you
a bad
actually
game.
throwing, John? The corn cob?
Yeah. No, I think it's I have to read here through it. Throw directly across. You throw. Lastly, pick your bags 4 to each team. I think it's bags, and I can't. They got a pitching box. They got a cornhole box. That's what the cornhole. Oh, okay. It's cornhole board, so it's got the hole in the board, and I think it's believe just throwing the bags into the hole, and the distance between there is 27 feet between one another, and each team is on sounds like each side. So it's kind of like the bag game, you know. Toss the bag into the hole, and they call it the cornhole.
Yeah, playing beanbag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of in that same way there, I believe. So anyway,
Of course, to do it right, John. John, to do it right, you really should do it while riding a motorcycle.
Oh, you're right. Hey, that's you know what? Is there anybody have that? Does anybody do it with the back with the motorcycle? If not, we could start this maybe. Maybe when we have one of our cookouts, we'll maybe Ron's run. We'll do the beanbag, the cornhole, and the motorcycle. Incidentally, I'll bring the trailer too. That way in case we have. But yeah, you never know where it's gonna go to. But whatever. But how long you guys want to talk? We must have some listeners on there, so we have somebody that was evidently listening to send me about the cornhole.
Well, I think we ought to touch on the the protest today in Waco.
Okay, we can do that. I heard 1,000. I heard 1,000 riders. I don't know if what you guys heard, and it was due to the Waco PD and the judges. I think in the release they actually had that called all for one or something in regards to that. What did you guys hear?
Well, I heard it was a peaceful rally. Yeah, there were about 1,000 bikers that attended, and that they were able to get their message out, and again without any violence, which is what we all want. But I think the backlash, and I think it's going to be interesting when all the facts come out about Waco that, I think there's going to be a lot more blame and responsibility put on the authorities than on the people involved in the bike night down there, at least from what I'm hearing. So it's going to be interesting to see.
It was all for one rally it was called, and it was at the McLennan County Courthouse in downtown Waco, and that's what I heard. About 1,000 of them went there and organized, and it was peaceful. And we're not criminals. I'm not a gang member. Type signs that were on there. So it was it all went well as far as I know. So they had food and drinks and stuff out there for them. So so I think some of the people that live around that area, they thought it was crazy that you're crazy because you ride a bike and you support the bikers, and then some of the town would say that you're crazy because you support the PD. So I mean it seems to be a little bit of a argument there in Waco, but we'll see what turns out. I think all the answers are coming out, and some have been released, and it'll eventually come out to the truth of what happened. And So I don't want to say what I thought. I think it was more, probably the PD, and then the judges not releasing anybody unless it was $1,000,000 bond, and trying to keep everybody in there. And I think that was trying to keep everybody in there to keep them silent. But there, like I said before in our other shows, there are just too many witnesses there, to keep quiet. You got that many people. It's not going to stay quiet. The truth is going to come out. So, why try to hide it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that one of the things that I
Go
hope
ahead,
that
George.
comes out of this, I really dislike the idea that the authorities are on one side and motorcycling is on the other. I mean, there's something inherently wrong with that. It's highly appropriate that motorcyclists are as interested in societal, the appropriate overall things in society that anybody else is. There's nothing magical about riding a motorcycle that makes you a criminal, and I think that it should be, if there's ever any feeling from this Waco business that wasn't the case, I hope that feeling has changed, and I hope that all the parties involved are doing whatever they can to make sure it does change for the better.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree, George.
Anybody
And
else?
We need to.
No, I agree. It needs to change, and everybody needs to be on the side. When you're on a motorcycle, and even some of the clubs that have been deemed as bad clubs or anything, they're not going to want to bring attention to themselves anyhow. I mean, they're trying to, a lot of them try to work with the police, and don't try to make it a nuisance. I mean, you only make it hard on yourself if you're on a motorcycle and you're adding nuisance to yourself on a motorcycle. You know what's going to happen, and it's not going to turn out well, and that's about like anything. But when you draw attention to yourself on a motorcycle, because you're teed off and don't like the police or anything else, that's not good. And the clubs don't want to bring attention to themselves in that way either. So.
Well, I want to relate that I know of an association of clubs that one of their requirements for a club to be part of that group is that the club cannot allow as its member any member of the police or anybody that had ever been a policeman. Now, I think that's a remarkably bad condition for them to have. It's how do you expect people to take you seriously if you have that as your one of the main requirements of your organization? When we started Abate of Illinois, I actively recruited amongst the police, judges, doctors, lawyers, professionals, as well as anybody that would ride. I wanted to make sure that we really represented society as such. And I hope that we're not getting anybody with the attitude of that their motorcycling is necessarily antisocial. I mean, most of us have some antisocial tendencies, but there's no reason why motorcycling itself should be considered that way. And in fact, there's numerous police organizations within motorcycling. The Blue Knights, the Red Knights for the fire department. Let's see, is it the Illuminati? Is that just public employees? The Roughnecks are police, fire, EMTs, that type of stuff. So I would think that type of involvement shows that there's no reason for us versus them type of mentality. Go ahead.
I agree.
I'm off.
All flocks of life, man. We all need to get along and ride together and enjoy the love of motorcycles, no matter, where you stand or what club you're in.
Yeah, and I'd be delighted to see the final analysis of what went on down in Waco. I don't know when that analysis is going to be out, but I would hope that either Motorcycle Riders Foundation or AMA, somebody, maybe even one of the Texas organizations, will publish something so that the rest of us can get all the facts on this.
Yeah, I believe it's going to have to be somebody neutral, because one side will say, well, they're saying it because they're for the police, or the other side will be for the bikers, or, I mean? It'll all come out. And I think it's going to take a long time to sort it all out, too. It probably shouldn't take a long time to sort it all out. I just, there might be, who knows? Someone might be trying to cover up one side or the other. You don't know, but eventually it will come out. And I'm anxious to see what happened there, too.
Yeah, it'll come out, John. That you like you say, you won't be able to keep it covered up, and I think there's probably some blame on all sides to different degrees, and hopefully we can learn from whatever comes out of this, and the next time maybe we won't be quite as reactive, and we won't end up with 9 people dead. That's the real tragedy here.
It is. I mean, with 9 people dead, that affects a lot of people. I mean, families, and it just like the domino effect, family and friends, and that causes a lot of discontent with a lot of people, when they have family and friends that were one of the ones that did die.
Well, when you stop and think about it, we've already had the bar restaurant closed, so anybody that worked there has lost their, you've got the police officers on one side that may lose their jobs, or worse, could be prosecuted, depending on what happens there. They have families. You got the 9 that were killed, they have families that are impacted. It just goes on and on and on. It's a domino effect. It's not just a small group of people. It impacts probably thousands of people, in the big picture.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Mona?
Hello.
Hey, Mona.
Hello,
I'm
boy.
going to add you.
This is Mona. I'm calling to tell you what cornholing is.
Oh, hold on here, Mona. I'm trying to add you to the call here. How do I add you to the call?
Are you on the radio?
Yes. I'm trying to add you to the call because we never had anybody on here yet. So, where in the world is that? Oh. Let's see here. Hold on just a second here. Okay. I don't know what happened to my, what happened to the
Are you there?
other guys there, Mona? Yeah, I'm on here.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't
can
find,
you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I can't find the other guys, though.
It's okay.
I might have to
the more
hang
you
up on you,
practice,
Mona,
the more
because
you play, the better.
I can't figure out how to get the other guys on here.
That's all right. I just want to tell you, you can tell the boys. Cornholing is a bean bag toss.
Okay.
Cornholing is a bean bag toss where you toss bean bags at each other. And if you step out of line, then everybody throws bean bags at you.
Okay. All right. Step out of line. Okay. I'll tell them that. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mona.
All right. I just wanted to clear that up so y'all wouldn't get nasty again.
Okay. Thank you. Mark?
Yes.
Mark, George? Hey, sorry about that, guys.
Yes.
I tried to get a call. I tried to get a call in there, and for some reason I couldn't get the. Is George still here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we had a call in there, and I tried to get her pulled in, and for some reason I couldn't get her pulled in. You guys there?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know
yes,
what.
Fireball. All right.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to get someone added to the call. Okay. Real quick.
Okay.
And she had a little bit about what the cornhole game was that we were speaking about earlier. And I can call her, but for some reason I could not
Sounds
call
like
her
Mona.
in. Yes, it was Mona, and she's got the skinny on it as she'll answer the phone. Mona,
Hi,
are you
I
there?
have to, hold on. Hold on. I got to mute.
Okay.
I got to mute.
We've got Mona here, and she's on
Yeah.
one of the other groups, and she's
I have to mute my
explained.
sound. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Pooh. Let me
Yes.
open this thing up again. I just wanted to call and tell you that, bean bagging is it's like throwing bean bags at each other.
Okay. Why do they call it cornhole?
What you do is you pick I guess because it's in Iowa. Maybe it's an Iowa game.
Oh, okay. So it's because Iowa game because they think it's a cornhole instead of the big like Illinois it'd be a bing bag game. Okay, gotcha.
Well, unless you're a soybean farmer, in which case you go back to bean bags.
Huh, yeah.
But it's like yeah. And if you're ugly and you step out of line, they pelt you with bean bags.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Lucky it's not rocks.
Yeah.
Better than a corn cob.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, one that had. Yeah, it's got the corn on there, no doubt. Huh. Wow. Well, we all know now.
So, Mona? Yeah, Mona? Now,
I'm gonna
what
go
they
now.
throw, are
Yeah.
they throw... Okay, before you go, let me ask you this. Are you still there? Okay, do they throw ears of corn or do they throw like a bag of loose corn kernels?
They throw a
Did I
big
come
old
through?
corn cob that's hard. So
Oh.
Huh. Wow, that could leave marks, right? Yeah. Huh. Sounds like my kind of
I'm
game.
gonna go,
Yeah.
so you guys can talk.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for the
Bye.
call. Thanks for the call, Mona. All right, bye.
Bye.
So, yep. So anybody that was with us earlier, we were talking about the Jonies Roast and Ride, and we were talking about some of the games, and one of the games was, cornhole, and none of us really had any idea. They mentioned it as horseshoes, wiffle ball, and cornhole. So couldn't imagine everybody's idea what that game was all about until just now. Now we know. So. All right, but
Okay, well,
guys...
I like it when life's mysteries are solved.
Yep. So now we had our first call in, and I need to figure out a little bit how to drag her in there instead of dumping you guys. So I'll have to do a little bit more reading and figure that one out. But how long do you guys want to make the show go on here? Is there anything else you want to discuss, or are you ready for dinner or bed?
Well, yeah, I've got to wind down within the next few minutes. I'm
Okay.
here at the office, and I really should get a few things done tonight.
Okay, well, sounds good. And I want to mention this is John Fireball Anderson with George Tinkham and Mark Morrison. We're on Patriots on Wheels on Live 365. And you can find us on Patriots on Wheels on Facebook, or you can find us on Roar Restoration of America Radio on Facebook also. All you got to do is click the link. It'll take you to our show at 7 Eastern Time every Sunday night. And we will be having our show rerun on Friday nights, so keep you posted. Find us on Facebook, and you can hear what we spoke about tonight. So anyway, you guys want to have a closing? Anybody want to say anything?
Well, I'd just like to thank our listeners.
Good night.
Go ahead, George.
Hello?
I was
Go
just
ahead,
going to
Mark.
thank our listeners for tuning in, and appreciate the call in tonight. And hopefully, we're providing some information, or at least, very least, some entertainment for them. So that's all I need to say.
Yeah, this is an interesting exercise for us. So I appreciate the opportunity that the people like Mona, Marcia, and Roland have done, and of course you, John, have done to put all this together. So have a good night.
I appreciate it, and I want our listeners to know that there is a little bit of a delay since we are on live radio, and so we may talk over one another, and I appreciate you putting up with us. And until next Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Patriots on Wheels. We'll see you then. So I'll have you guys go ahead and mute, and I'm going to throw in Madison Rising, Amazing America, one of the most patriot bands out there. Great guys. Dave Bray, keep on thriving, man, because they're bringing patriotism across the country. All right. Until then, we'll talk to you guys later. And thank you to the listeners. All right. Goodbye.
American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We make up America, it's amazing America. The waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans. From the snowy passes to the desert sun, the dogs and the horses and the trucks and the guns. With mothers and daughters and fathers and sons, we're Americans. We make up America. It's amazing America. Trust is American. We like the wildest things that you've ever seen. We make them bigger and faster, louder and mean. And tell me, who wouldn't want to be an American? We make up America. It's amazing America. Oh, yeah. Home of the brave in America. American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. Never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights. We're Americans. We make up America. It's amazing America. Yeah. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans. From the snowy pass to the desert sun. The dogs and the horses and the trucks and the guns. With mothers and daughters and fathers and sons. We're Americans. We make up America. It's amazing America. Yeah. Home of the brave in America. We're an amazing America. Our strength, pride, and faith and trust is American. We like the wildest things that you've ever seen. We make them bigger and faster, louder and mean. And tell me, who wouldn't want to be an American? We make up America. It's amazing America. American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free. We're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights. We're Americans. We make up America. It's amazing America. The waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans. From the snowy pass to the desert sun. The dogs and the horses and the trucks and the guns. With mothers and daughters and fathers and sons. We're Americans. We make up America. It's amazing America. American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We make up America, it's amazing America.